And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning here. We are at Boise State University. We usually come here, I think, once a year, and maybe it's been a couple years, but it's great to be here once again promoting our schools, securing our future. A lot going on today. I don't know how you mix this in. We're going to have some great friends here from Boise State, and Anthony Scaramucci is going to join us this morning, which that's a very eclectic mix this morning. And if you miss any of our broadcasts, you can always go to KIDOTalkRadio.com and check out the podcast. By the way, lest I forget, when I get very excited, I always do, it is time to win Kevin Miller's cash. Remember the code words. Listen at 6 a.m., 8 a.m., and 3 p.m., and when you get the code words, you go to KIDOTalkRadio.com, you type them in, and you could win up to $5,000. That's right. Today's 6 a.m. code word is car. That's car. There we have it. Joining us now, Rebecca Morgan, director of Boise State X. And we've been trying to figure out what Boise State X is here on KIDO Talk Radio. And we don't know if that's another relaunch of the X-Men or the X franchise or what have you from Marvel Comics, but I don't know. Are you a mutant or a superhero? Would you like to disclose?
Well, I'd like to think I'm a superhero. Oh, that sounds pretty great.
It does. It does. Good to have you with us, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So the hard-hitting question, what is Boise State X?
Boise State X is something special on campus. I work for the College of Innovation and Design, which is the new college on campus here at Boise State. And what's really cool about doing that is that we get to go outside of what normally we would do here at the university. So I do special projects like Passport to Education and Bronco Reconnect. Those two programs bring our Idaho citizens back to campus to try to help them finish up their degrees in affordable and accessible ways.
That is such a challenge. And, the politicians will talk about student loan debt, very little. They'll talk about mortgage, Social Security, but student loan debt is so huge.
It is.
We have people that are almost paying off their mortgages but still have student loan debts. So to be able to educate yourself affordably is
almost impossible, right? The return on investment, trying to figure out how much this college degree is going to help me in the future, I think is it's something that everyone's talking about. What we know is that you do need to have a college degree in order to move up. And what we've been very lucky here in Idaho in that I like to say that we haven't had to have a degree for a really long time. We've been able to kind of keep our little bubble here in Idaho and move up with loyalty and seniority and just hard work. But the secret is out. We're a great place to live, work, and do business. And so with more and more people coming to the community, which is good for our economy, we're going to have to compete differently, and one way of doing that is that we're going to have to be able to check the box and say that we've got education, and that's I think what Passport to Education does best.
Well, education can be intimidating.
It can, especially when you're coming back to school. I am a good example of that. So I didn't finish my degree until I was 40. I'm one of those people that live
just
here in Boise.
Just a kid being 40.
Just a kid
all
walking
the time in the world.
Campus,
yeah.
Kicking it around a little bit.
What's up, kids?
What's up? What's up, kids? Yes, I could be your mom. But no, I'm a college student just like you.
What did it take for you to do that? Because, again, and thank you for Rebecca for letting us know that, because it can be so intimidating if you're our friend Chandler's age or our age.
Right. Right. I think the big thing was that I looked at my own family, and my daughter at the time was in grade school, and I got to thinking about how I was going to convince her to go to college. And my husband had his degree, but I didn't have mine. And I found myself in the professional world really struggling with being able to be promoted. I was promotion ready, I thought, but when it came time to turn the resume in, the big question is, it looks like you forgot your education on there.
Right.
And I didn't. It actually wasn't on there. And so I had gone to college off and on, trying to balance what was happening at work, your social life, your family life, and going back to school part-time is hard. But it's the way that we do it now with an affordability and accessibility, it's completely doable.
And that's where the partnership with CapEd comes in?
Correct, yeah. So CapEd and Boise State got together. We're aligned with our vision and our missions, and that we're just trying to help Idaho become better educated and fiscally responsible. And so we were able to partner with them with this Passport to Education.
So how does it work?
It is a monthly subscription. So normally you pay your tuition all at once for the term, and you have to take out a pretty sizable loan in order to do that. Well, we take it, we break it down into monthly payments, and we reduce the tuition upwards to almost 30% in one of the categories. And so you're paying your tuition each month as you go, taking either 2 classes at a time or 3 classes at a time online.
Right.
So we're not taking time away from your family, time away from your social life, time away from work. We're putting it kind of like back in your control, where you get to take classes at your pace, on your time, but also one that doesn't affect your checkbook.
Indeed. Rebecca, let's talk a little bit about student life here.
Okay. Well,
Big game tonight,
mm-hmm. Right? I have a college freshman living in the dorms about, 500 and 600 feet away from here.
Sure.
I don't see her,
Right.
She's free. We've got a large amount of students that are here on campus, which is great, and then we've got this non-traditional student base that is in and out of this campus.
Isn't there really a lot of non-traditional students here?
We do have a lot of non-traditional students here. A lot of them are still coming to campus until they find that it just doesn't work anymore for them to do that, and that's when they end up coming to more of an online environment.
Yeah, I don't know. It is fascinating how everything is going online.
Right.
And those of us that, we grew up with the textbooks, we grew up going to class,
right,
and that rigid structure. But you have a lot of people that, do the online and have a good time with it.
I actually preferred the online classes than coming to campus. At first, I started on campus, and I liked that, but then I started taking online classes. And what I liked about it was that I didn't have to come down and try to find parking. I didn't have to manage my day around driving to a different location, driving downtown. I live out in Meridian, so it was
way out yonder.
I know,
Meridian.
right? So far away. But what I liked about it is that I could get all of the things done I needed to at home or running errands and things like that, and I didn't have to leave my house. Or if I was going to leave it, I could just go to Starbucks or one of the coffee shops in town
and work on classes.
And work on my classes, right?
Finally, here at KIDO Talk Radio, for people that are just moving in, we take it for granted that Boise State has always been here, but it is a very different university when you take a look at your historical colleges, let's say east of the Great River, or even in California, that have been around for years and years. A lot of history here, mm-hmm. but it's almost like a startup, it seems, when you think of the youth and energy here, and much more than the highly successful athletics.
Right.
There's a lot of innovation going on, number one, but number two, for people that aren't, maybe they've moved here 2 or 3 months, they really don't know what Boise State is.
Right. I think that they should come down and take a look at what we've got going on down here. We are a Carnegie Research Metropolitan University. We've got wonderful, innovative things happening, like you mentioned. We're doing things that other universities are coming to us and saying, "Can you give us a peek at what you're doing on campus?"
Right.
It's fantastic, the brain power that's happening here on campus, and that's all of our students. We've got young students that are changing the world, but we've got these other non-traditional students that are coming in that are saying, "Don't forget, I have this thing too," and they're changing our landscape.
Sure,
it's wonderful.
Well, we appreciate you waking up with us. Thank you.
Thanks.
Kevin Miller in the morning here, KIDO Talk Radio. Joining us now is retired 8th Master Chief Petty Officer of the Coast Guard, Vince Patton. Chief, thank you for joining us, Chief Patton.
Hi, Kevin. Good morning to you and to all your listeners out there.
Well, we take a look at the state of the military, Veterans Day coming up. Your thoughts as someone who has dedicated his life to saving and securing America?
Well, the easiest way to answer that is to give you an event from yesterday. At the company I work for, New Day USA, we did a honored veterans event, and we had a wonderful young man, Captain Patrick Horan, who was injured in Iraq in 2007, traumatic brain injury as a result of a sniper bullet hitting his head, and this guy was declared dead. And, came back to life, and he's a athlete in the Paralympics. He does this guy's all over the planet and things that he does. And so to tell you this is to tell you the reflection about veterans and about not just the willingness, but the desire and the passion for not just survival, but doing the right kinds of things. So to all our men and women out there who have served in the military, as well as the family members, and we must not forget family members who have been there to support those folks who served in uniform. That's what it's all about. And I've always looked at Veterans Day as something that we should honor veterans every day, 24/7, not just wait till November 11th to do that.
Have we gotten better as a country understanding the less than 1% of the population that currently serve and have served, sir?
Oh, my goodness, yes. I enlisted in the U.S. Coast Guard in 1972. Went off to, which was toward the tail end of the Vietnam War. But went off to basic training in New Jersey, and then after my basic training, I went to California, northern part of California. When I landed at the airport in San Francisco to take a bus up to Petaluma, California to go to radioman school, I will never forget two women coming up to me. I'm in my spanking dress uniform, spitting on me and calling me a baby killer. This happened to me, and I'm sure you've heard this many times about what happened to veterans back in that time, but this actually happened to me. And to see the transformation from 1972 to today and seeing how we all embrace the veterans. I mean, this is probably the only thing in Washington, D.C. where you can get politicians to agree on one particular thing, and that's honoring the veterans, and that's a wonderful thing.
Well, we still face so many challenges with our veterans. Obviously, the tragedy that happened in California, PTSD, traumatic brain injury, the stress involved in these multiple deployments, sir?
Yes, we do. And I'm really just heartbroken over this recent incident that occurred that involves a Marine veteran, and heartbroken in the sense of that I hate that this will eventually turn into it's because of PTSD. Of our veterans as a whole, particularly those who have suffered from post-traumatic stress, and have been involved and done different kinds of things. They've done exceptionally well. That's why I used the story of Captain Patrick Horan, someone who, like I said, was basically dead. And you think this guy suffers from PTSD? Absolutely he does. But how he gets around it. And the same thing with the number of other veterans out there. So my point here, particularly to all of your listeners out there and to everyone, and embracing and supporting our veteran community is the fact that extremely more good of our veterans of what they're doing. And while we have such problems and issues as a result to people who just are broken, that the system is getting better. And I will say in the past year, the system has really gotten better to really embracing and working with veterans. We've gone from 22 per day of suicides of veterans to 17. Now, 17 is still 17 too many, but the number's going down only because of the fact that people are now embracing that and working with that and so forth. But we're getting better. We really are getting better, and I really believe that.
Master Chief, let's talk about New Day USA, your thoughts, and what they can do to help folks in America.
Well, New Day USA is a mortgage company that caters to the veterans. Our focus is strictly with helping veterans buy homes, which is a benefit that very few veterans take advantage of, that getting a place with no money down and so forth. And we've really been pushing this out within our veteran community. We embrace the veteran community more so not just with looking for veterans and buying a home, but supporting all types of veteran programs, like I mentioned about our celebration event that we did yesterday at the company. And we are reaching out throughout America, looking at all kinds of ways of helping and supporting our veteran community.
Well, Master Chief, we appreciate your time and your service and for waking up with us so early here in Idaho.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Well, I'm a couple hours ahead of you. I'm in the Washington, D.C. area, but still I was up and very happy to talk to you and to your listeners out there, and a happy Veterans Day to all of the veterans out there as well as to the family members.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for your service.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Kevin Miller in the morning. We've got to reschedule the mooch, but that's okay. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Some of the Top local stories. Looks like Middleton will be reinstating 13 of 14 teachers who are involved in that controversy concerning wearing those Halloween costumes. I believe there's going to be some type of outside investigation. And isn't there always an outside investigation somewhere? The latest in California, people are still trying to figure out why that Marine, that former Marine, of course, once a Marine, always a Marine, who was a combat veteran, went in and shot those folks. People are still reacting.
Firefighters and police officers in particular, when they go to work in the morning, and all of us have basically the same routine. We kiss our loved ones goodbye, and in the back of your head, you know that you may not come home at the end of the shift or the next morning.
Boy, that is Andy Fox basically telling it like it is, what it's like to be a firefighter or police officer, and he is the mayor of Thousand Oaks, California. We advise you to please pray for those folks that are still recovering and all those people dealing with trauma. That is certainly something that we will continue to keep an eye on. Coming up, we'll have more from Boise State. Our friend Todd Christensen says, Kevin Miller, I'm on the way. Todd, don't worry about it. Take your time. We're going to continue to talk about the College of Innovation and Design and what great things Boise State is partnering with our friends at CapEd Credit Union. By the way, Promote Our Schools the Future, brought to you by CapEd Credit Union, Team Mazda Subaru, and Pacific Office Automation. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Blessed to be with you, Kevin Miller in the morning. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Coming up, more of our in-depth analysis of education here at Boise State University. Also, an issue that we haven't had a chance to discuss. I would like to get into it today. If not today, definitely next week. By the way, speaking of next week, we will be once again living at the Walmart on Garrity and Franklin in Nampa, right off the highway by the Auto Mall and everything else, collecting your turkeys, asking you to give a turkey, don't be a turkey. Miller's Mission 2018. We've been doing it since 2011 now. Chandler, I just want you to, you're a college guy, so we've been doing this since 2011. Is this our 7th or 8th year of doing this? 8th year, thank you. So 8th year of doing this, 8 years of living. We started Miller's Mission by living at the Boise Rescue Mission, and we collected 20 turkeys. And it's grown to almost 2,000 turkeys and so much generosity within our community. If you'd like to help us feed Treasure Valley families, you can go to boiserm.org or you can go to our website for more information. We ask you to give a turkey, don't be a turkey. You can bring your cash, tax-deductible donations. You can bring a turkey. You can bring food. You can bring clothes. It all goes to feeding the needy. Miller's Mission brought to you by our friends at Team Mazda Subaru, the Boise Rescue Mission, and Camping World. It is something that it's just life-changing. You'll catch us with our friend Larry Gebert if you're watching Channel 7 while listening to this Monday morning. Yes, the giant turkey will be returning. Cluck, cluck. And if you haven't seen that, we'll have some more information for you at KIDOTalkRadio.com. Let's get you to work safely and on time.
I'm Larry Gebert.
Let's go to Pete in Mountain Home with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning, Kevin, and thank you for what you do at the Boise Rescue Mission. I think that is both you and the Rescue Mission are doing really great work. I have a sort of a minor gripe for Veterans Day here, speaking as a Army veteran. I've been looking at the Idaho Transportation Department, getting a veteran's license plate. And they charge veterans $25 for the first year for the plate, and then $15 a year every time you renew it. And I'm thinking, how much does it cost them to run off a license plate? I mean, okay, I could sort of see the first $25, but the $15 a year thereafter are they just making money off of us? Or is that just Idaho Transportation Department's way of saying thank you for your service to the veterans?
Well, thank you for your service, Pete.
Well, you're welcome. It's just kind of annoying that to get a veteran's license plate, I got to pay them $15. It's like it's just kind of a nasty little thing they're doing.
Well, for those people that are newsmakers that are involved in the process, we have a lot of people. Dave Petzo told us the other day he was surprised how many people of influence listen to this morning show on KIDO Talk Radio. What would you say to them directly?
I would say to Brad Little and to the Idaho legislature, I know Idaho Transportation Department needs money, but, I don't think it would break them. Okay, I can see $25 for the first one because it's got, it's a special plate, and they have to actually print the plate. But, come on, people, $15 a year to keep it, that's just sort of a nasty little thing to do. And if I were the governor and the legislature, I would tell ITD, okay, somebody who has a DD-214 who has served in the military, give him the damn plate.
I agree, Pete. Thank you for your thoughts, and take care.
You too.
Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. We are here thanks to CapEd Credit Union and Team Mazda Subaru. We are promoting our school, securing our future with Boise State University. Coming up next, we'll find out more of the innovation going on here, number one. Number two, how you can get your education, your higher education, more affordably. And the latest concerning marijuana possibly being legalized in Idaho. The Statesman says it's a good idea. We'll hear what you have to say next. Kevin Miller on 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning, Kevin.
And KIDO Talk Radio, Kevin Miller in the morning. Phone number is 580-5436. 580-KIDO. As residents of Thousand Oaks, California, mourn 12 people killed in Wednesday's shooting at the Borderline Bar and Grill. Many are praising Ventura County Sheriff Sergeant Ron Hellas for sacrificing his life to save more people. Also, other issues here in today's Miller's Morning Montage.
I once was lost, but now I'm found.
Police officers know full well that even if they get there by themselves, they are to do their best to engage the assailant, and many times they're walking in fire without cover, and they know they may not survive it. And that's exactly what he did last night.
Thank God for the first responders, for those two officers that came. They saved lives. They saved those kids' lives. The rest of them that were in there, and sadly sacrificed one of their own.
Sergeant Ron Hellas, he was a good friend. He's a hero. He's a husband. He's a father. He's a friend. He's a partner, and we're all extremely devastated with what transpired. He went into that bar protecting, serving others, and making sure everybody else can go home. And unfortunately, he's not going home.
Isn't that the message of law enforcement, that everybody else can go home? And the firefighters that go into these unthinkable infernos to save lives. There has been a change in tide from when you had former President Obama in office compared to what you see today concerning law enforcement. And that was one of the tougher issues that we have. Remember, we started Back the Badge, Support Our Blue, backing the blue, and we still do that. I saw Chief Bones the other day, chief of the Boise Police Department, and the chief and all the other officers always say, thank you for what you do, Kevin Miller. No, thank you to everyone in law enforcement for what they do and continue to do. We would be lost without you indeed. We so appreciate what's going on, and what a difference that we have when we're looking at what happened in Parkland, Florida, compared to what happened in California, in Thousand Oaks, where you have an officer going in face-to-face. It cost him his life. It cost his family, their dad, their husband. And these law enforcement officers do this each and every day. That's why it's so important to protect them. That's why it's so important to do what we can to make a difference in their lives. And we can never, ever, ever thank them enough. Earlier today, if you were just tuning in, we had the mayor of Thousand Oaks on. And he was talking about what these folks go through day in and day out. Can you imagine what it would be like to rush in to danger? How many of us would do that?
Firefighters and police officers in particular, when they go to work in the morning, and all of us have basically the same routine. We kiss our loved ones goodbye, and in the back of your head, you know that you may not come home at the end of the shift or the next morning.
You know, it is Veterans Day coming up, and we're going to commemorate the 100-year anniversary of the end of World War I. We should be thanking everybody for what they've done, right? More coming up next. We'll take a quick break. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. We appreciate so much our friends at CapEd Credit Union for allowing us to profile these schools each and every week. We couldn't do it without the commitment of CapEd Credit Union. Joining us now, our friend Todd Christensen, who always keeps us focused on the task at hand. And that's what CapEd Credit Union's about, is education and supporting education and educators.
Supporting the education community. We've been doing it since 1936 and continue to do it here today. This morning, actually, here at Boise Junior College is where we were founded. And so it's great to come to our deep roots with Boise State.
It is, of course, the College of Innovation and Design, partnering with CapEd Credit Union. Big news when you made this announcement a few months ago.
A few months ago, we rolled out Passport to Education. Rebecca was on earlier this morning talking about the opportunities and why it's so important to not only us as an organization, but to also to our broader community.
And we've got a very special guest with us here, Todd.
This is an individual who helped us put together the partnership. It's Pete Reese. He is the Associate Dean of Extended Studies. And this is part of the conversation that we've had over the last, a year ago when we started some of the conversations to help bring this all together.
Well, Pete, good to have you with us.
Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you for waking up so early.
No problem.
You've got a big crew here. When we talk about the challenges of not only going to school academically, but funding it, that's something we all deal with, whether we're in our 40s, 50s, or just starting out.
That's right. I think how we're going to pay for things, the cost of things, and then how long it's going to take us to get done. Those are really the primary things that people worry about these days. And so these programs that we're working on right now are what we're putting together to try to mitigate that.
So how did this develop, this partnership with CapEd Credit Union?
Well, Passport to Education is a concept that we've been working on for several years. We needed to upgrade some technological capabilities and that sort of thing to be able to deliver the program online. So myself and Gordon Jones, who's the Dean of the College of Innovation and Design, began working on the development of a program that allows for subscription payments for students to come back to school at a much lower cost over time. And we were able to present this at...
it was at IBE's annual meeting in January of this year. I think in January or February when Gordon Jones stood up and shared the concept, and we as CapEd internally had been talking about how do we offer educational opportunities to our employees. And as Gordon was presenting the information about how you could be a part of Passport to Education, we immediately said, hey, this is where our two worlds aligned, sat down over a couple of months and struck up the agreement. But as we had the conversation of offering it to not only our employees, the notion of offering it to our associational members. And so as Gordon and I sat down and with Pete and with Rebecca, we looked at how can we take the cost of education, and specifically higher education, from that of a mortgage payment to a car payment and do it on this subscription-based model. And wonderful partners. We've been partnering with Boise State for 80-plus years, and this is an extension of that continuing partnership.
Pete, when we take a look at, reaching out to the community, obviously Boise State is everywhere, but still one of the larger employers in the state, but, reaching out to people that might be, and this will be a theme today of the program, that might be intimidated by not only going to school, going back to school, but, as we've said earlier, the cost of school.
Yeah, the cost can be intimidating itself. I think that Passport allows us to drop those prices down 19 to 30% for students that are coming back. So that's a significant savings, and we consider that an outsized value for the students that are coming back. The programs are delivered online, so the student can access this education anywhere, anytime. And as you met with Rebecca earlier today, she's got a great team. We have a number of staff who are fully dedicated to providing just really deep levels of connections to the students so that they can feel comfortable coming back. My own wife is going to be a student in one of these programs beginning in January, so we don't just...
You're a believer.
Oh, I'm a believer. We're a user.
Indeed. Todd, how does this work? So people listening right now, maybe they've saw some of the announcements. We've talked a little bit about it, but how do they get involved in Passport?
Well, there's two pathways that you can find out more information. One would be to visit our caped.com website. We have information there posted around Passport. That then leads over to Rebecca and Pete and their team. And the incredible thing that we've learned over this last term is the dedication of these individuals. We've got 5-6 individuals here of all of this team here early in the morning. That is a reflection of their dedication, that they're going to help you individually understand and know what your educational needs are, what your end outcome and end desire is for your education, and then they're going to wrap around you what they see and help you find out the best pathway forward. And that is part of that Passport, is to move you from where you're at today to meet your end desire and need professionally, or even if it's on a personal level. And so we would encourage individuals to connect with Boise State straight away, be able to share their work experience, share what credits they've already earned, how those can be applied to receive that degree.
I just like to look at you, Pete. Anyway, that goes well on the radio. When we take a look at the amount of people coming into the Treasure Valley, usually I don't want to say grill Todd, but Todd and I will go back and forth concerning the Treasure Valley economy from the CapEd perspective, the financial institution perspective, where it's funding homes or cars or businesses, or that great checking deal that we'll probably be talking about in a minute. But what are you seeing at this level for people moving in, the growth of the university? So many people moving into our area to begin with. Are you seeing that here?
Yeah, we certainly are seeing a growing number of people coming into the university community from out of state. And I think that's exciting for a number of reasons. It helps us see different perspectives. But I think what's beautiful about Passport program and the partnership with CapEd is that these programs are really built to access or provide access for Idaho residents. And so this is giving us as a group, as Idahoans, a leg up and competitive advantage to make sure that our folks have the employable skills that they need to move forward, and so that we're running our own destiny.
And they're not breaking the financial institution to do it.
Correct.
Right. All right, Todd Christensen, anything else? Are we talking checking?
Well, I think that with the recognition that this is Veterans Day weekend, we want to pause and take an opportunity to say thank you to all the men and women and the families who have sacrificed to defend our freedom, to defend our values of having an open democracy across the globe. And really want to say thank you to those individuals who have dedicated and sacrificed, for those who have made the ultimate sacrifice, to say thank you. Take an opportunity here at Boise State in this conversation, and several of your callers have referenced this Veterans Day weekend, but a heartfelt thank you to the veterans and the families that have supported them.
You're here. Thank you, Todd Christensen.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Stay out of trouble, Pete.
Thank you, Kevin.
Quite welcome. Traffic and weather together, KIDO Talk Radio.
Jerry Gabbard.
Let's go to your phone calls now. Hank in Boise with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Hank.
Good morning. We're seeing a pattern both in Arizona and Florida of the usual thing with the county that's dominated or controlled completely by the Democrats suddenly finding votes all over the place. The candidate's a little bit behind, so all of a sudden we find these catches of discovery. In the same counties that were involved in the 2000 race in Florida, down there in Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach, and that, they all find these ballots out of place. We had the King County thing in Washington where all of a sudden, the Republican candidate, and all behind, it took them 2 weeks, but they finally found enough votes in King County to defeat the Republican. And how about Minnesota with the Coleman race? And then the Democrat-controlled area in Minneapolis where the voters kept recounting, and sure enough, they found the votes. Sooner or later, they need to start prosecuting these people for vote fraud and illegalities.
Hank, I agree with you, but let me ask you, what do you think's going on here in Idaho? We've got a story in the paper where you have some Republicans blaming the Ada County Republicans for not supporting them enough, not having enough money. Your thoughts. You cover this very, very good. You got the statesman saying, "Oh, look, we've got more libs running wild." What do you think? Your analysis.
Well, they're badly split. The Ada County Central Committee is very fractionalized and has been for several years. And a lot of times you've got Republican moderates, so when they don't get their candidate, they go around voting for the Democrat. We've got that problem going on in Ada County for a number of years. And there hasn't been any kind of battle plan. The Beater is the central problem here. We got to take steps to basically limit Beater's power in the county. They cracked District 15. That means that the Democrats, by cracking 15 and swiping the Republicans out of 15 in this presidential election, they're on the road for complete dominance in Ada County. I'm sorry to say 15 is the key, and they got it. And the only thing I can say is that Brad Little has to work more closely. Basically, Butch Otter went after conservatives, went after it, which didn't help the situation. Butch spent many years purging Republican conservatives out of the party. I was one of them who purged, and so I can't see. We're going to have greater cooperation. We can't have the factionalized fights because the Democrats are in danger of reestablishing themselves. But I don't. The answer isn't going to be easy.
Hank, thank you for the call. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.